Welcome back to the channel. After the long and memorable drive into Ooty, today we are taking things a little slower and exploring the beauty within the hill station itself. This part of the journey is less about long highway stretches and more about soaking in the atmosphere of Ooty, the cool weather, winding roads, mist-covered landscapes, scenic lake views, waterfalls, and the relaxed pace that makes this place so special. So if the previous drive was about getting here, this video is about experiencing Ooty. We'll be moving through some of the most loved spots in the region: the lake view on the way to Pykara Waterfalls, Earl's Secret, a tea factory, a chocolate factory, and finally a stroll through the local market. This is the kind of trip where the journey itself is as enjoyable as the destination. Let's begin. As we set out from the main town area of Ooty, the first thing that stands out is the climate. There's a freshness in the air that immediately feels different from the plains. The temperature is cooler, the roads are quieter, and the landscape carries that signature Nilgiri charm: rolling hills, eucalyptus trees, tea estates, and occasional patches of mist drifting across the road. Driving within Ooty is a very different experience from the highway drive that brought us here. Here the roads are narrower, the pace is slower, and every turn seems to reveal another postcard-like view. As we continue, the route toward Pykara begins to open up with beautiful stretches of greenery on both sides. One of the most pleasant parts of this drive is the lake view along the way. The water, the hills, and the cloudy sky all come together to create one of those classic Ooty moments, the kind that makes you slow down a little, even if only mentally. The lakes in this region are not just scenic, they are part of what gives Ooty its identity as a hill station. Water bodies in the Nilgiris have historically played an important role in both settlement and tourism, and today they continue to be one of the major reasons travelers love this region. As the road winds forward, you'll notice tea plantations appearing in the distance, layered across the hills in neat green patterns. This is one of the most iconic sights in Ooty. The tea estates here are not only beautiful, but also part of the region's economy and colonial history. Tea cultivation became a major part of the Nilgiris during the British era, and even today, it remains closely tied to the identity of the hills. The roads remain scenic, with sharp turns, open viewpoints, and stretches where the mountain air seems almost still. And then we approach Pykara. Pykara is one of the most well-known and peaceful attractions around Ooty. The name itself is often associated with the river and the lake system in the area, and the whole place has a calm, refreshing feel that makes it a favorite among visitors. The Pykara Waterfalls are one of the highlights here. Unlike some waterfalls that are difficult to access or require a trek, Pykara is relatively easy to reach, which makes it very popular for families, couples, and day visitors. The water flows over rocks with a steady and soothing force, especially during and after the monsoon season, when the flow becomes fuller and more dramatic. At Pykara, what you really notice is not just the waterfall itself, but the entire setting around it. The surrounding greenery, the cool climate, the sound of the water, and the fresh mountain air all make the visit feel relaxing. This is the kind of place where people usually spend a little more time than planned, taking photos, walking slowly, standing by the viewpoint, or simply enjoying the quiet. And that's the beauty of Ooty and its surroundings. You don't have to rush from one point to another. The place itself encourages you to slow down. After spending time at Pykara, we continue toward one of the more elegant and memorable dining experiences in Ooty: Earl's Secret. Now, Earl's Secret is known for its heritage-style atmosphere and a more refined dining experience. It carries that old-world Ooty charm that blends well with the hill station's colonial legacy. The interiors, ambience, and setting often make visitors feel like they've stepped into a different era. It's the kind of place that pairs very well with a relaxed Ooty itinerary, not just for the food, but for the overall experience. If you are planning a day in Ooty and want one good sit-down meal in a more peaceful and premium environment, Earl's Secret is often considered a nice choice. And from a travel storytelling point of view, it fits beautifully into hill station day: a scenic drive, a waterfall visit, and then a calm, elegant meal in the middle of the mountains. After lunch, the journey continues with one of Ooty's most interesting and practical attractions, a tea factory. A tea factory visit is one of the best ways to understand the hill station beyond sightseeing. You don't just see tea estates from the road here, you get to understand how the leaves are processed, dried, sorted and turned into the tea that the Nilgiris are famous for. The tea industry is deeply connected to this region. During the British period, the Nilgiris became one of the major centers of plantation development, and tea gradually became one of the strongest economic and cultural symbols of the hills. When you visit a tea factory, you can often see the whole process from close range: the machinery, the leaves, the aroma, the packaging, and of course the tasting section. That aroma alone is enough to remind you why people love Nilgiri tea so much. It has a distinct character, fresh, brisk, and aromatic, and many travelers usually pick up packets to take back home. A tea factory visit also gives your audience something educational and useful. It shows that Ooty isn't only about scenic spots, it's also about local production, heritage industries, and the everyday economy of the hills. From tea, the route takes us to something a little sweeter: the chocolate factory. This is another popular stop in Ooty, especially for families and travelers who like local products. Chocolate factories here are often small-scale but very popular, and they have become a tourist favorite over time. The appeal is simple. You walk in, smell the cocoa, see different varieties being made or displayed, and then get to sample or purchase fresh chocolates in different flavors. Some places also offer homemade chocolates with nuts, fruits, coffee, caramel, and a variety of other fillings. For many visitors, this becomes one of the most enjoyable parts of the Ooty trip. It's not just about buying chocolate, it's about the experience of seeing a local specialty being made in a hill station that already feels cozy and inviting. The combination of cool weather and warm chocolate is hard to beat. As the day moves on, we head into the more lively and familiar part of Ooty, the local market. This is where the trip changes pace once again. The market gives you a closer look at the everyday side of Ooty. Here you'll find local vendors, souvenir shops, woolen items, spices, tea packets, homemade chocolates, essential oils, fruits, and small street-side businesses that keep the town active. Walking through the market is a nice way to end the day because it brings you back from the scenic and tourist-heavy parts of Ooty into its lived-in, local character. You start seeing the human side of the hill station: shopkeepers talking to customers, tourists bargaining, families carrying bags, and the general rhythm of a hill town that remains busy without feeling overwhelming. One of the things people usually buy from Ooty markets is tea. Another is homemade chocolate. Some also pick up eucalyptus oil, local spices, or simple souvenirs to remember the trip. And if you're just walking around without shopping, that's perfectly fine too. Sometimes the best way to experience a place like Ooty is simply to walk its streets, observe the weather, hear the sound of vehicles passing slowly through the hills, and feel the atmosphere. By now, the day has moved through several moods. We began with scenic roads and lake views, moved through the refreshing setting of Pykara Waterfalls, paused for a refined meal at Earl's Secret, learned a bit about tea production, enjoyed the sweetness of the chocolate factory, and finally ended with a local market stroll. That's what makes Ooty so enjoyable as a travel destination. It offers a balanced mix of nature, food, local culture, and relaxed sightseeing. You don't need to rush here. You can build your day in layers: a scenic drive, a waterfall, a good meal, a tea stop, a chocolate stop, and a quiet evening walk. And in many ways, that's exactly the kind of experience people come to Ooty for. Before we wrap up, one thing worth mentioning is that Ooty's charm is not only in the famous spots, but in the in-between moments. The roads between attractions, the tea gardens beside the route, the cool wind, the occasional mist, the small shops, and the soft traffic within the town, all of these together create the full experience. This is a place where even the drive between locations feels meaningful. So if you're planning a local Ooty itinerary, this route works really well as a relaxed, full-day experience. It gives you a nice balance of sightseeing, food, shopping, and scenic movement without feeling too rushed. And if you're watching this as a dashcam journey, I hope it gives you not just the visuals, but also a sense of what it actually feels like to move through Ooty. That brings us to the end of today's travel through the hill station. Thank you so much for staying with me through this journey. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe for more road trips, scenic drives, and detailed travel voiceovers. And if you've been to Ooty before, let us know your favorite stop, whether it's Pykara, tea factories, chocolate shops, or just a quiet walk through the town. Your comments always help other travelers plan better. Until the next drive, stay safe, enjoy the hills, and keep exploring.